Hello and welcome to a fresh start, new week, new news stories on People's Voice on VOP television, where the stories that matters take the center stage as we continue to amplify the concerns, stories, perspectives, and the voices of the everyday Nigerians. You and I, let's set the tone for an amazing week ahead. I am Adefunke Jaisimi, and today on People's Voice, we are shining the spotlight on former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai's focus on the Tinubu must go agenda as he leads the coalition to woo the North ahead of the 2027 elections against Bola Tinubu's re-election. But first, let's talk about something else in the news. Contrary to many opinions and speculations, Senator Umaru Tanko Al-Makura, a founding member of the All Progressives Congress APC, has pledged his total and unflinching support for the party's new national chairman. He congratulated the chairman, describing his emergence as a reflection of the party's collective will. Al-Makura emphasized the need for the party to return to its founding principles of discipline, inclusivity, and nation-first politics. The former governor stressed the importance of moral clarity and leadership style, urging the new chairman to demonstrate administrative capacity and moral clarity. He advised the party's new leadership to promote reconciliation and inclusivity, prioritizing the politics of healing and patience. Al-Makura also called on the leadership of the All Progressives Congress to reconnect with the party's grassroots base and ensure all members feel a sense of belonging. Al-Makura has offered himself as a resource for the new leadership, pledging to work with them to advance the All Progressives Congress mission and mentor young members. He also emphasized the importance of unity and collective national identity, quoting former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Al-Makura concluded by offering prayers for the chairman's success and expressing optimism about the party's future. Well, interesting one, because there's been a lot of speculation about the choice of the APC chairman and the position of Al-Makura, but it's good to see him coming out to say that it's about the fortune of the nation and which the party is working towards. We wish the party well, but let's go to more news stories with details as we begin with weather forecast. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted thundery and rainy weather activities across the nation from Monday to Wednesday, warning of possible flash floods in some areas. NIMET's weather outlook envisaged morning thunderstorms with moderate rains over parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Jigawa, Kano, and Katsina states in the northern region. The agency anticipates a high possibility of flood occurring in other parts of Adamawa, Taraba, and Bauchi states during the forecast period. NIMET has urged the public to avoid driving under heavy rain and also states with the possibility of flash flood to activate the emergency response system immediately. Let's talk about seizure of substandard products in Nigeria, as the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) has taken delivery of 15 containers of substandard and falsified pharmaceutical products and tomato paste imported through on a port in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The agency estimated the street value of the product to about 20.5 billion naira. The seized products include 1.3 million bottles of codeine syrup, 12.6 million tablets of tramadol, and 9.3 million tablets of substandard and falsified diclofenac tablets. NAFDAC's Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, commended the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service for joining the fight against the importation of illicit, substandard, and unwholesome products in Nigeria. A good move there. At the end of the day, the well-being of Nigerians depends solely on what we consume. So let's move away from that story to talk about media freedom in Nigeria and, of course, politics. The International Press Institute Nigeria and the Arewa Broadcast Media Practitioners Forum have condemned the shutdown of Badegi 90.1 FM in Minna, Niger State, calling it an attack on press freedom in Nigeria. The station was reportedly shut down on the orders of Governor Muhammad Bago over alleged critical coverage of his administration. IPI Nigeria described the suspension as yet another crackdown on freedom of expression and media freedom in Nigeria, warning that it violated constitutional guarantees. The forum threatened a total media blackout of Niger State government activities unless the clampdown ceases. Meanwhile, in politics, Peter Obi, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, has reaffirmed his commitment to serve only one term of 4 years if elected in 2027, stressing that effective leadership does not require prolonged tenure. Works Minister also has come out to talk about the progress being made by this administration, as David Mark has also responded to criticism about the Southeast region being left behind in federal road infrastructure and appointments, highlighting the developmental strides of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and saying that it is a false claim to say that the Southeast region has been marginalized in this administration, and has called on people to be careful with the kind of news they bring out, because there are facts to back this. And even as the Minister of Works, being someone from the region, he can say that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been doing so much to put a balance as to the infrastructural development across different sectors, different regions in Nigeria. Well, those are the stories in the news at the moment. As we explore these stories and more, we'd like to hear from you. Do well to join the conversation by calling in or texting us, or share your thoughts with us on 090-447-32605. 090-447-32605 is the number to call in or text us via WhatsApp. Do well to follow us on social media at VOPTV Live, and you can use the hashtag People's Voice on VOPTV to be a part of the conversation. And on YouTube, we have Voice of the People TV. Kindly hit the subscribe button, and together, let's make our voices heard. That's all for now. We'll be back after this break to put more perspective, or better perspective, talking about analysis to Rufai's stance on Nigeria's social capital if Tinubu is re-elected in 2027. Thank you, and stay with us. Many thanks for staying with People's Voice on VOP television. So let's dive deeper into the story of the former Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, who has indeed warned that Nigeria's social capital may be completely destroyed if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress, APC, are returned to power in 2027. He made this statement during a grassroots mobilization campaign organized by the opposition coalition platform, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in Sokoto State. El-Rufai expressed his concerns about the country's future, stating, if we allow this party and government to continue for a second term in office, what remains of Nigeria's social capital will be destroyed, and we may not have a country at all. So, this is a fight for our lives. It emphasized that his return to active politics is driven by the need to reverse the failures of the current government rather than personal ambition. The ADC has also welcomed El-Rufai's support and urged him to join the party along with his followers in Kaduna State. Saliu Lukman, ADC chieftain in Kaduna State, believes that El-Rufai's involvement would help unite the coalition and strengthen the party's chances in the 2027 general election. So let's look at some of the key issues driving the opposition to the APC, which are economic challenges. They've talked about rising inflation, food prices, and unemployment in the nation. There are also conversations around insecurity, banditry, insurgency, and farmer-header clashes. And yes, poor infrastructure, unstable electricity supply, collapsing roads, and underfunded universities. There are also conversations around a very key sector, healthcare, high maternal and child mortality rates, inadequate health systems. So these concerns actually highlight the complex issues facing Nigeria and Nigerians and the need for effective governance and leadership to address them. But the questions remain, is the coalition an alternative? Is the All Progressives Congress doing well? Is the ADC, African Democratic Congress, the way to go for Nigerians? And looking at other political parties in the country, the Labour Party, the SDP, the PDP, which is the major opposition in the country as it stands now. What alternatives do Nigerians have? These questions will be answered by my VOP TV senior analyst, Mr. Dede Fanimo, who is joining me live in the studio to answer some of these questions based on the statement made by former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai. Good afternoon, Mr. Dele Fanimo.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm trying to cope.
Please do, because it's going to rain till Wednesday. But speaking about rain, while we are having this cold moment now, it's also raining in the political space with a lot of conversations around who is who should be what, and what exactly Nigerians should choose and decide towards the next electionary year. But let's talk about economic impact that is relating it to Rufai's statement. How do you propose the APC's economic policies have failed Nigeria? And if you share in that thought, what specific changes would you implement, would you rather they implement to address issues like rising inflation and unemployment in the nation?
You see, sometimes I imagine if we are really thinking from our head and not from our heart. We are too sentimental, we are too emotional about so many things going on around us, either politically, economically, and otherwise. Now, let's take it from this point. When the three major candidates in the last presidential election were campaigning, the point of convergence is, when I get into office, I'm going to remove subsidy.
Right.
Now, granted that was the consensus among these three, and perhaps only one person could win that election.
Absolutely.
And that person is Tinubu.
Right.
Tinubu came and removed subsidy.
They won.
They won. Does it really occur to anybody in Nigeria that subsidy removal will not take some pains along with it? There's no way you will remove subsidy from petroleum that it won't affect the price of petroleum, because it's going to be at the dictates of the international market.
But the opinion of this opposition is the fact that there were some measures that they would have put in place, even though they've not categorically stated what. So it won't look like they are giving maybe some expose to the government of the day.
The best footballer. I was once a footballer, so I know. The best footballer is the spectator.
The ones watching?
Yes. Look at that space. This space is enough. Look at the other guy running along the wing. Why don't you just throw a pass and the goal will come? But put that person on the field of play. He doesn't even know which wing is playing. Not to talk of connecting the defense with the midfield and scoring goal as an attacker.
But are you making a case for the government of the day?
You see what I'm telling you? It's easier. In fact, it's the easiest and most convenient thing to do, to criticize.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu criticized other governments.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not exonerating Tinubu. Tinubu felt it was going to be an easy ride when he was making those promises and when he was campaigning. But the reality dawned on him as soon as he got into office. Today, Dora Akinyili, when she was alive, as NAFDAC DG, said the monster of corruption is the deadliest to contend with.
Right.
Okonjo-Iweala echoed the same thing.
Right.
That if you try to fight corruption, corruption will come
back to you.
To you.
And fight.
Now, you recall that about a month or so ago, Ahmadu Ali, former chairman of PDP, his son was jailed for 12 years. For what? For manipulating figures and papers to get money for fuel he never imported under the subsidy regime, totaling about several billions of naira. I can't remember the actual amount now. That's just one scapegoat out of many of them. And if somebody is now feeling that, oh, this country is bleeding, and if you are on hemorrhage, You don't keep pumping money
You have
into
to
the
stop
system.
this.
But you stop the hemorrhage.
Okay.
And the man has decided to stop it.
But what do you say to
how do
the
you
rising inflation?
expect those who have benefited from it
Not to fight back.
not to fight back?
But how do you react to the rising inflation, unemployment, and I would add
As
underemployment?
inflation not risen before Buhari came, I mean, even before Buhari came, inflation was already on the rise. Has the unemployment been, at the lowest ebb?
But the change Nigerians wanted were based on the promises made.
The point is, you build, honestly, if you ask me, I find it difficult not to engage Nigerians on some of those steps that have been taken. Because for me, I feel the brunt of these new economic policies. But I am literate enough not to go the route of every other person without any reason to justify my going through that route. Okay. I tell you that mistakes could have been made along the path, but then it's a better route compared to where we're coming from. They were printing money to postpone the evil day during Buhari's regime.
True, and a lot of people even...
And so everybody was just living the now without considering the tomorrow.
But it's heartbreaking that a few of us benefits from this damaged system while the majority of Nigerians have to deal with...
And now those who have benefited from that rot are the ones that are now champions
of the hunger protest.
Even when they have money stashed in their closet.
Talking about beneficiaries, let's talk about Malame Rufai's claim on Nigeria's social capital.
How much social capital does he have?
In your opinion, what are the most pressing issues affecting Nigeria's social capital right now? And how would you address them to prevent further erosion?
You see, when you talk about social capital, you're talking about the indices of livelihood and living. And then you're posturing for the optics and all that. Rufai has never been a signpost. I want to talk of a good signpost. Rufai had been somebody who profiteer from crisis. Right from his days in BP, Bureau of Public Enterprise, up to FCT, up to governorship.
Governor of Kaduna State.
This is a man that had consistently benefited from government since 1999, when this Fourth Republic started. And he knows how to shout when they remove feeding bottle from his mouth.
Do you really have to call it feeding bottle?
It's a feeding bottle now.
So
who was Rufai before he came back to Nigeria from UK? It was just like any other person, any other Nigerian. There was something fantastic about him. So before Atiku, you know what he did to Atiku at some point. Atiku invited him to Obasanjo's regime. He dealt with him.
But they are coming together now. That's
why he couldn't challenge Obasanjo up to today when he said he is a pathological liar. Do you know the meaning? There's a difference between being a serial liar and a pathological liar. A pathological liar is a liar that has ingrained it, that even before he was born, it was in his gene.
Pathological.
That lying is in his gene. And for that singular word, it is either you accept and bury yourself in shame, or you reject and go to court. Up to today, tell me one interview and he listed how he betrayed his uncle, his political godfathers, and everything. He has not come out to say all these things are lies since then up until now.
But does it change the fact that he might be actually concerned about Nigeria's social capital?
When Wike started, Shebi we felt that, I was telling some people, I said, Wike is fighting for his political life. He knew that after living 8 years in Rivers, he needed to connect so that he can continue to enjoy that feeding bottle. And so, he capitalized on the greed and avarice of Atiku to grab power at all costs during the primaries, and he used some of his colleagues, Otom, Ugwanyi, Makinde, and I can't remember the last person now. He used them to have inroad into Tinubu's campaign, and they went to UK, right, held a meeting, and that was how they started. But where are the others now today? Has Otom been appointed? Has Ugwanyi been appointed? Makinde is finishing his second term. The other governor, I can't remember his name now.
You can't be too sure.
What I'm telling you is, who is profiteering from that gang up? Is it not Wike? But when Wike came, after the primaries, Wike came with the belief, with the narrative that, look, it is the South, I'm fighting for the South, even when he knew that he was fighting for himself.
He probably stood for the South. I mean, there is an unwritten agreement of zoning, and of course, if that's one thing that they gave him a reason to hold on to, maybe, just maybe, he has a reason to fight.
You think he wouldn't have done maximum damage to PDP and he will be rewarded with FCT?
Well, let's talk about governance, Mr. Fadima, because we really need to look into some of the points made. And yes, talk about role, talk about governance. What role do you think that governance failures have played in Nigeria's current challenges? And I'm not limiting that to Tinubu's administration. And what reforms would you implement? I mean, would you advise to be implemented to strengthen institutions and accountability? Because it just feels like it's a roller coaster. The journey has been the same people, the same ideology, the same line of thought, the same interest being recycled over and over again. You know, they used to talk about old wine in new bottles, but as it is right now, we don't even have new bottles anymore. It just feels like old wines in old bottles.
You see, one thing that is very clear, you just mentioned something in the course of asking me this question. You talked about institutions and systems. A country that individuals are bigger, stronger than systems cannot stand the test of time.
So it's not about who is in power now.
It's not a matter of who is in power. With all the excesses of Zuma in South Africa, you think if there was no system in South Africa, you think South Africa will remain as it is today? It was the system that prosecuted, that allowed South Africa to prosecute a president. Because the institution is bigger than the man. But show me an institution now that is bigger than the president of this country. Show me an institution that is bigger than any governor in any state. Even party chairmen, they leak the spittle of the governor and the president. The moment you become governor, you are the owner of the party in your state. The moment you become president, why would they...
No, but some governors have cried out on different instances, talk about how they do not understand what is happening even in their own state. So I do not totally agree with that system.
How would they not understand? It's just a way of covering their shame. How can a governor tell me that he doesn't understand what is going on in his state? You are the one anchoring this program. You now come here and tell me, Dele, please, what question can I ask you? Is that not a clear statement of failure? How can a governor who campaigned, who went around the whole state, tell me that he's helpless and he doesn't know how to handle his state? Yes, you might say security. Why is Lagos State able to turn insecurity to this level?
People talk about the region where the state is located in the map.
Which region? In fact, if you want to talk about it, do you know how much Lagos State government sinks into security every month? Even the security vote and whatever money that they have earmarked for security was not enough. They had to go into a trust fund to raise money.
Lagos State Trust Fund.
And most of these blue chip companies around, they raised money for the state, and that's why you see presence of security operatives almost everywhere in the States. Are you telling me that a state governor does not know what to do when the occasion demands that he should take some steps, and now you are so it is me that was not voted for that will come and solve your problem for you?
You might have some solutions to the problem.
You see, the moment,
how has all of this?
Let me tell you, you see, the basic truth about all of this is there is one clear thing that you cannot controvert.
Okay.
And that thing is, the moment greed sets in, wisdom takes flight.
But we've been on this
all
journey.
These people, all these political players, I don't know what runs through their brain. They believe that you must be stupendously rich for you, because all of them, they seek validation where it doesn't exist. Examples abound all over the world.
But Mr. Fanimo,
when you talk about this system issue, let me tell you, the late president of Tanzania, Thomas Nyerere, Mwalimu, he was president. As soon as he left, he had nowhere to return to. It was the communities around his village that built a story building for him.
So he can live in.
And after that, so that he will not suffer hunger, every member of that community and other communities around him, they made it a point of duty, without being told, that a portion of their farm produce must be lodged at the doorstep of Walimu.
That's why we don't share the same genetic traits with Tanzanian.
Okay, now, Mandela, in all his sovereign years, his second time was given. If Mandela wanted to upset...
Be a life president.
He would be life president, and nobody would ask him questions. But he felt that, look, I'm frail and old. I don't want to hold on to power for power's sake. Now, let me step down. There are people that are also as brilliant as I am. If it were to be a Nigerian, after suffering for 27
Nigerian leaders
years,
don't even see that
there
are people that are more that can do the job better than them.
I know a governor who is late now. When his children were misbehaving all over the street, going to eatery to close it down, they want to celebrate with his friend and all that. So I was part of those people that went to interview him. I said, sir, why don't you check this your children? They are bad signposts. And we gave an example of Hophni and Phineas in the Bible. You know what he said? These children have suffered a lot. Please, it is time for them to enjoy. Let them enjoy. Look at that mindset.
So you are going into office to wipe off the years of suffering and
I know a governor in this state that as soon as he became governor, every of his siblings, his cousins, his nephews, niece that are in America, Canada, wherever, he brought them home and empowered them at the expense of this state. So how can that person, if there is a system that will check him, he won't dare it?
Exactly. So all of this,
so it
has affected our current challenge as a nation.
When we continue to attack personalities and we are not attacking what brought down our system, we are not going to get anywhere. Take a Tinubu out of this place, go and bring an angel, it will still be the same thing. And they will have people who will justify why they are behaving the way they are behaving. Okay,
that being said, let's go to opposition uniting ahead of 2027. How do you plan to... What do you see with all of the plans of the opposition to unite opposition forces across board behind a single candidate or platform to effectively challenge the All Progressives Congress in 2027, given the diversity of interest and ambitions within the opposition and the fact that you have a lot of people who have interest?
Your house is burning. Instead of you to marshal people, mobilize people to help you put out the fire, you run outside and go and meet another person whose house is also equally burning. What will happen? Convergence of those whose house says we are burning.
So they might just use that anger to rebuild.
They are not likely to return the house to a house.
But they may use the anger to build a tower that they can all share.
Which power does? You see,
no, if you say that
now look,
people's houses were burning.
Look, let me tell you. The only way, which is very difficult, if not impossible, is for this so-called champion of democracy, champion of Nigerians, champion of better Nigeria to come together and say, okay, we are sinned and come short of the glory of Nigerians. We have sinned, we have come short of the glory of Nigerians. No, let's not go to that level.
Okay.
Now, we have repented and take us as a slave, not as a son. But what we are doing is that all of us, we are bringing a candidate that has not been tested, that has not been used, but with so much, that is where that social capital that one is talking about will come on and say, this is the candidate that we feel, having gone through his antecedents, having gone through his pedigree, that this person will make a better choice. But as long as these people perch like vultures, waiting to devour the carcasses of Nigeria, nothing will come out of it. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing will come out of it because of their unbridled, rapacious inclination to steal.
But don't you think that the coalition might have there's what they call the jackpot when you play cards back then?
You know, when you play cards, you have aces.
So don't you think there's a jackpot that we've not even seen?
Where is the ace?
Why do you want to begin with the ace? Wow. There might just be something hidden.
You see, I
don't like to produce the kind of result that we've never seen before in Nigeria.
You see, I don't like thinking from my heart. I rather think from my brain. And that's why every intervention I make, go back to them, you'll see that they come true. Because most Nigerians, they think from their heart.
So you're not emotional.
This is what I want. This is what should happen. But what are the indices that points to that direction? That this is likely to happen? Nothing. Building castle in the air. That's what most people do.
That's what you think.
That's what most people do. For instance, you think for his life, Atiku will concede presidency to anybody.
Don't you think that Atiku knows this and might just want to disappoint people like you?
Let us hear he will disappoint. Somebody that has been nurturing that ambition, that he has, up till now, he still runs a media office that has about 38 people working for him.
He might just know when to step back.
And who is that person that he will step back for? Is it Peter Obi? Is it Amici? Is it Aregbesola? Is it Rufai? Rufai knows that he needs to be active so that he doesn't die quickly. So that's why he's jumping all about. That thing he's doing is a form of exercise to preserve his life.
Moving from one party to another.
Yes. Moving from one place, addressing people and all that. It's a way of energizing yourself. You burn calories. If that is the only gain he will make, fine for him.
It doesn't have fat, so I don't see where burning calories.
That's where you don't. That's why you
from.
Make a mistake. Not everybody that has fat that has cholesterol.
Doesn't seem like he has weight.
I've seen people that are slimmer than Rufai and they have plenty cholesterol to contend with.
Okay.
So he needs exercise.
Well, interesting times are here. Trust me, Nigerian political space and the atmosphere generally in Nigeria is something to pay attention to at this time.
Winston Churchill said something. He said, we politicians, we don't believe ourselves. How would the electorate now believe us? Why must you believe politicians?
Well, for so long, we've been believing them.
And then what is the result?
It will get better. I believe strongly in this project, Nigeria.
I like your tribe.
Yeah, Nigeria will survive. Nigeria will be great.
Nigeria will not die. So don't even go to that.
Mr. Dele-Fanima, please. All right, let's move away from that story. El Rufai has a right to talk about what he thinks about Nigerian social capital. And of course, it's the responsibility of the president and the APC to also respond with proofs, not just talk, not just cheap talk, but to prove to Nigerians that, I mean, it's about the interests of the people above whatever personal interest they have as a party and as a team working in the presidency. But let's move away from that story and go on a break now. When we return, we'll come to talk about the fate of Bayo Ojulari, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL. His fate remains unclear after reports of his resignation. But trust Mr. Dele-Fanima to analyze some of the issues around these speculations. Please stay with us. Welcome back to People's Voice on VOP Television, where we're talking about the fate of Bayo Ojulari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPCL, whose fate remains unclear after reports of his resignation. According to sources, news reports says that Ojulari was pressured to step down due to his closeness with Bashir-esque son-in-law of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Some have also raised speculations around his flamboyant lifestyle, talk about how he has consistently been in the face of the people, talk about the kind of experience he has, the style he uses in carrying out his duties, and of course how much money is being spent to maintain his office logistics and everything that has to do with him being the CEO of the NNPCL. But this passive connection with the son-in-law of Vice President Atiku Abubakar may have raised concerns about potential benefits for Atiku in the 2027 political landscape. These are speculations. The presidency and key government agencies, including this Department of State Security, State Services, DSS, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, have refused to comment on this matter. As a matter of fact, the presidency has been silenced, and this has left a lot of people wondering what exactly the situation is. But the NNPCL has also remained silenced on Ojulari's status, despite reports of his resignation emerging over 24 hours ago. Some sources also said that the Ojulari's resignation is not true. Some have denied the resignation, saying that it's all flux. But others have stated that it would affect operations and distract staff, and that's why conversations around what the situation is or his ordeal has not been made public enough. But other sources suggested that Ojulari's ordeal has a political undertone, with some individuals saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not necessarily have an issue with Bayo Ojulari, but the people around the presidency do not feel comfortable with the developments coming from the NNPCL following his emergence. Talk about how Bashir has been cut off some benefits from the NNPCL when Meleki Ayiri was the CEO, and saying that he has been granted so much access after the appointment of Bayo Ojulari. But the situation has generated a lot of tension and confusion across the oil and gas industry, with many people awaiting clarity on Ojulari's status. So the situation surrounding Bayo Ojulari's reported resignation include actions that have been taken or what could have been in place that has led to this. But let me come to Mr. Dele-Fanima to help put the spotlight on this topic. I really do not know what exactly is happening with the NNPCL. One would have thought that, oh, this is a man that has come in and there's a lot of opportunity to do things differently. But coming about bringing conversations around is more of a northerner. A lot of people even said his first language is Hausa, having lived in the north and all of that. But Mr. Dele-Fanima, what specific actions can be taken to clarify Ojulari's status and resolve the uncertainty surrounding his resignation?
See, let me tell you for a fact, I have my sources in NNPCL, and Ojulari resumed this morning. It's around 9:38 a.m.
Resumed in the office?
In his office. So
in Abuja?
Yes.
Or another branch?
In Abuja. So that would have rested the idea that he resigned or not. 2, how could you accuse somebody who just resumed 5 months ago of what happened in the last 10 years? Yes, to the extent of vicarious liability, no problem. Because he is in the office now, he should provide details of what happened in the last 10 years based on available records for the Senate and the House of Reps to probe further. But somebody was there for 8 years as Minister of Petroleum, the late Buhari. Somebody was there as Minister of State for Petroleum. You are not inviting those ones. And now you want this man to go back in time, the last 10 years, to unearth. I mean, those documents, if they are available, would be more than ×5 of this studio. And you want him to bring those things up to date in that short notice that was served between when it was discovered. What were they waiting for all these years that they didn't discover 210 trillion, not billions?
210 trillion.
You know, my thinking now is that before I die, I'm likely to see zillion fraud in Nigeria.
But really,
because there was a time I imagined that can anybody steal 1 billion in this country?
But we've seen it.
But we have seen hundreds of billions. Now we have moved to trillions. So what makes you think that...
No, this trillion is accumulated. It's been accumulated,
even if it's accumulated
over a period of time.
But we have just discovered 210 trillion naira, which is more than enough to turn around the fortunes of this country, residing in some people's pockets. Some may have died, and the code to unlocking their safe in Switzerland would have gone forever.
Right.
And yet they celebrate today that Switzerland is the safest country, the most prosperous country. What are they doing? I have not heard the kind of precious mineral you get from Switzerland that makes them so prosperous.
So what are you saying?
It is our money now.
You're suggesting?
It is our money. I know of a minister during Obasanjo's regime that stashed his loot in Switzerland. And when he was about to, according to what they said, when he was about to transit using his own hands, God just saved him that suicide is allowed, but make sure it is successful. If it fails, you have to contend with government, because government will ask you, you cannot take your own life. So I was told that the man went and gave the son, the heir, the code to Switzerland. So at least somebody can access the money. But not many people will have that luxury. Right. Because somebody who died in plane crash, or somebody who went to London hospital, they are undertaker. Because those hospitals now do undertaking, and we are now the grave. All right, no, Ojulari came to inherit a cesspool of corruption. And the man has started audit. He has started putting systems in place. Ojulari never worked in NNPC before he was appointed. He made some strides in the private sector, particularly in oil and gas. That was the reason why he was appointed to that office. And now he is taking his steps. Those who don't want it to happen are the ones raising dust against him. Why don't you allow him to settle in? Allow him to come up with his audit report that you failed to do in 10 years? And now you are now harassing him. Let me ask you another question. If there's the talk around being pressured to resign, do you think that... Where is the pressure coming from? How might what has been his infractions? They've talked about lifestyle, they've talked about how the operational costs, and they've talked about him giving access to maybe opposition. Whatever the case is, how might the alleged pressure on Ojulari to resign be is
Will you let me ask my question? That would be Tinubu's problem, I understand. But is there any part of our law that says that one can be subjected to such harassment due to association with certain persons? And in his own situation, his association with Bashir Aske, how do you think that his relationship will impact the NNPC's operation and decision-making processes? Do you think it's enough not to trust him well for that position?
You see, when people spin lies, a lot of Nigerians don't take time to deconstruct those lies. For me, you are in the studio today, I'm your guest. If we meet in America tomorrow, in whatever circumstance, does that distract me from saying hello? Does that stop our relationship? No! Ojulari didn't know he was coming to NNPC when he had been a friend to somebody. Right. So because he's now in NNPC, that friendship must stop.
But there are allegations of favorism to the said man's business, Mr. Bashir's business. When
you say somebody has done something, the onus is on you to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. Show us documents where he abused his office, because abuse of office is corruption. If, for instance, you come to my office, you need a contract, and I find you worthy, you go through tender, you go through procurement, and there was a recommendation for you. So because you are my friend, I will deny you that contract. No! It only becomes an offense if I circumvent the system without you going through the process and then give you that contract. That is abuse of office, which is corruption. Nobody has come to say this against this man. Until I begin to see all those ones, that's when I can comment the way Nigerians would expect me to comment now.
You said he began audit already. Do you think that this there's a political
corruption
undertone?
Would always fight back. And who are the beneficiaries of those 10 years before this man was appointed? Who are the beneficiaries of
to what end? Because even if he has to depart from the company, they are going to still employ somebody else. So how many people will be ousted before the final report is being delivered?
One thing that is so beautiful about this is the fact that Tinubu was like an auditor and treasurer in a big multinational oil company. So, regardless of whatever anybody says, he understands the system and he knows how to deal with Ojulari if Ojulari has erred. And since he has not said anything and the man is back on his seat, then let's wait and see.
But people have talked about president's silence. What do you make of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's silence?
Because if somebody is behaving stupidly, why should you join issue with that person?
But how might the political, the reported political undertone surrounding Ojulari's
those people that
resignation
were neck deep in round tripping, fake documentation for subsidy, fake documentation for turnaround maintenance, those who have been profiteering, they should allow this man to at least settle in. Let him bring out his report before they say crucify him.
You believe so much in this man?
No! It's just like somebody appointing Akinwumi Adesina as
MDCO of okay,
or Agri-Care minister again, and then you come up within 6 months and say he has stolen, he has this, that. When you look at his antecedent in AFB, when you look at his antecedent when he was once minister here, you should have a doubt until it is proven.
So in your words, he's never been a broke guy. So the lifestyle is not about being.
He has never been a broke guy. He has been at the executive level in all servicing company. You want to rate him like a civil servant that earns 70,000 naira a month, or a permanent secretary that earns 2 million naira a month. The salary of this guy in oil company is paid in dollars, and the salary of 10 permanent secretary may be his salary in a month. So what are you talking about?
Do you think that he should be investigated?
I used to have a friend, an elderly friend. He retired from Mobil. He was vice president of Mobil. Not Mobil Oil. Mobil Offshore International.
All right,
You need to see his lifestyle.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dele Fanimo. I don't know what your thoughts are on the investigation, but thank you for being a part of
if
People's Voice. If he needs
to be investigated, let them investigate
Go ahead and do that.
And let them come up with reports that he actually stole.
All right.
Then we can now crucify him.
All right, thank you so much for being a part of People's Voice today.
It's my pleasure.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for being a part of the People's Voice today. It's been an engaging and very informative conversation on the show today. Talk about the position of Malam Nasir Rufai on Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election, talking about the social capital of Nigeria, and of course, the ordeal of Bayo Ojulari, MD CEO of the NNPCL. But we'll continue to bring you more details as the situation unfolds. That's how we draw the curtain on People's Voice today. I am Adefunke Jaisimi, and I strongly believe in this project, Nigeria. Nigeria will be great